history is gonna change. Legs in the back. Daddy-o, daddy-o. Time machine.
Come on now, party you. Come on now, party you. Come on now, party you.
Dance, dance. Dance, dance. Dance, dance. Dance, dance. We're sending you back, closing truck back. Stand up. We're sending you back. Oh, you make like the tree.
Come on now, party you. 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 Just never would've met your father. Never would've.
Planets down to Earth, down to Earth, down to Earth. What if we agree?
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Darachat. My name is Daramouthe, or Dara for short, because some people still have issues with Daramouthe and say Daramouth, and then I have to say it's a sad day. It's a sad day when I have to correct and say that's not how it's said. It's not how it's said. But anyway, I have a gentleman by the name of Ramrod, which is kind of a name to have.
Fair point.
Yeah, just gotta ram that rod in. But anyway, you didn't think your day wasn't gonna have that happen. I don't know what you were thinking about for that one. But no, thank you for coming on, sir. It's much appreciated. But yeah, I talked to all sorts of people. So, but no, I'm glad to have you on, as the kids say. I just know that name. I kept like Ramrod Jenkins. Is he trying to do a Leroy Jenkins sort of thing? Is that what he's trying to do?
Kinda, yeah.
I knew it.
So it was Ramrod came from Super Troopers. Car
Oh, okay.
Ramrod. I mean, I love that movie. But
Yeah.
then the old school clip of the Leroy Jenkins, and then that's actually my last name anyway.
Oh,
So
very
it
good.
kind of just worked out. It meshed together. And my older brother, he always called me Ramrod. And it was from that movie that we used to watch. And so it just kind of stuck. And that's what I've been like forever.
Yeah. Oh, Stars. Super Trooper, whatever. I I remember when that movie had come out. I didn't see it obviously because it was more of a what was it? Which it was like Comedy Central. I think they're on. I think that's what they were at.
Might have
And
been.
yeah, and that was sort of more the adult thing. But I know that thing had its own grew its own legs and became its own thing, and then he had people just that actually became I think it was a movie first, and then it became a show because that's where it was on Comedy Central was the show part. But I think it was a movie first before it became a show. I'm not too sure. It's been a
Yeah, I think
while.
I know what you're talking about. I feel like the show wasn't it like Reno 911?
Yeah, Reno 911, and
I
they
think.
were yeah, Reno 911. Hey, how's it going? But yeah, the show was called Reno 911, but the movie was called Super Trooper. And the weird thing is that obviously I don't know if it's still airing or not. I mean that show had
I
to
don't
go on for
either.
ages. The show is gone for. I better check. Hold on. I better check to make sure because I don't want to.
I feel like it's
Uh,
been going on for a really long time.
yeah, that's what it feels like. Oh, I don't know why. Oh, that's right. I have it too. There we go. Reno 911. Uh, 2022. Oh, okay. Well, here's what I got. Hold on. There we go. Um, so Reno 911 is up to 8, but that was like in 2022 on the Roku channel. So I don't think
Oh,
they've had anything since um, then. So wow, that's it's one of those things. Yeah, yeah, because yeah, because it's based off cops.
yeah. It was like the slapstick dry humor version.
Oh yeah, no, it's hilarious because I know that one of them, Thomas Lennon, that's the one I know. I just know the name because it has the last name Lennon, and that's more of a John Lennon, that sort of thing. But I mean so let me see what the movie was. Super was it? Nope, that's not how I spell it. Nope, I had it. There we go, 2001. So okay, so the movie was before the uh the show, but I don't think it had anything to do with Reno 911. So that's maybe where I'm getting at that cross up. And then of course there's a two, like 9 years later or 17 years later. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was a long time later.
Jeez. But no, it doesn't look like it has anything to do with the Reno 911, unfortunately. It's its own thing. Well, that was a short-lived deal. But it's sort of like that thing where it's taking the cops sort of scenario and all that stuff, and then they just do with it. But yeah, 17 years to do a sequel for a movie.
And it like the sequel was funny, but it wasn't like the original. Like most cases,
Yeah.
movies come out and like the OG is awesome, and then the sequel happens, and it's kind of like,
Wait, there was a first?
yeah.
They're not sure where it's at. It's like, wait, where am I supposed to find this movie? Is it like in the VHS section or what?
So many
Um,
times the sequel never lives up.
yeah, well, my thing is that sometimes sequels or whatever movie comes after, it becomes too much for its own weight.
Yeah,
You have what, Shrek at 5 now,
yeah, I saw that.
and all these movies. At a certain point, it's like, come on, guys, we gotta take a break. But I mean, money is money. If they know it's gonna be a success and it does become a success, but again, it's a weird thing with movies is that they try to redo some of these old things. I mean, they, of course, back then they did like what, Cheaper by the Dozen,
Yeah,
which was an old thing a long time ago. And that, of course, the new one that was done was had like Steve Martin, Bonnie
yeah.
Hunt, Tom Welling was in it as well. Um, a film called Reno. Yes, no, I did see that. That wasn't the thing. Was the Reno 911. But that's a mix of my own fault right there. But yeah, it's just like they can't let something just go,
Yeah.
right? You kind of just see this thing again. But I mean, it really hasn't been in any movies for me to go out and see lately because they're all just there's nothing that draws me out to them. Because I know what movies are out there. Well, I know the Sonic one is still out there. That was all right. I watched that.
Yeah.
Let's see what other ones are out there. There's one out there now that's pretty. All right, I've got to look up the movie theater stuff. So hold on for a
I feel
second.
like I very seldomly go to the movies to watch anything.
Well, and that's the Captain America one. That's right, the Captain America, Dogman, Paddington. Oh wow, I didn't know they made another Paddington movie. That's
I didn't
weird.
either.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I still go to movies. It's nice to go to mostly because of the guilty pleasure of eating the food there. But that's another story
That's
altogether.
fair.
But can I get a hot dog, please, and a corn dog? Say what now? Exactly, just a hot dog and a corn dog. Um, but you really don't need to go see a movie that it really is. There's a movie theater um, near where my siblings live, and they live near like Cincinnati, and it's called Cinebistro.
Oh
And
wow.
so what it is that it's a theater, but it's a theater for 21 over. So no kids are allowed in it. So it's really date night movie stuff, right? Um, and what they do is that you can order food before the movie starts.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
there was oh man, I've got to okay. Now that I brought it up, I'm gonna have to look for it, just because I know they'll have their thing into it. Bistro. Bistro. No, I'm trying to. Yeah, Cinebistro. Can I not just get something that says Cinebistro altogether? Like, uh, she's Louise. There's a lot of those. All right, Cinebistro. Uh, oh, there we go. There we go. All right. All right. Well, I'm not sure how else to give it to you. But this is the one I went to. Uh, there we go. This is the one I went to. Oh, that's right. I gotta put it presentation up. Okay. So this is the one I went to.
Whoa,
Um,
that looks nice.
Yeah, but you can see here, look for a unique, relaxing, luxurious movie watching experience. This is the place for you. Choose from the family-friendly CMX Liberty Luxury 15, which, that's for families and stuff. And then enjoy a world-class dinner and movie at their Cinebistro. Here, moviegoers can dine on a delicious full-service experience complete with fine wines and signature cocktails in the theater design for guests 21 and over. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, you could bet your bottom dollars on some. But I was trying to find like, um, there we go. Let's go to that. I think this will give more. Cinebistro. Okay, so reimagine at Cinebistro, get cozy in a large recliner, eat chef-driven cuisine, and see the latest Hollywood hits. Now, the one time when I went, it was during when the second, what was it? The second Guardians of the Galaxies came out,
Oh, okay.
which was quite a long time ago. But this is like your check-in area, live up in the lounge, right? This is the seating.
Whoa.
That's the seating right there, right? Like you can have recliner seats, and you can order. Look, there's like lamb on that plate right there.
That's crazy.
And then they do like Cinebistro serves a popcorn with possibilities. Mix your movie popcorn with popcorn, chicken, shrimp, or calamari. Ooh, more your thing. Enjoy complimentary refills. Nice. Previews and main features. Enjoy a preview off the menu. Korean barbecue wings, dynamite poppers, and crispy mahi soft tacos. Oh man, it's been a long time. I basically spent $70 to get. So what I got was I got something with shrimp, and I got like this little copper kettle, but it was filled with mashed potatoes. I'm like, oh, it was so worth it. It was so worth it. I don't know where else they have Cinebistro. Um,
Definitely not here.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely not that. But it's just one of those things where it's like you go to it and it's just like this thing of extra stuff. You're in luxury, but you're paying for luxury. So you're going to. So I think the movie ticket was probably like $15
Yeah.
or 14.99. So it's $15. But I mean, I can't argue with what they offer though. I
No.
really I really can't. I really can't. Um I wouldn't I wouldn't know fancy theater. That's right. No, not just fancy, super fancy. Okay? When you can get popcorn, shrimp or chicken in your popcorn.
For real. The movie theater close by here is it's just popcorn and candy, and a drink. That's about it. So definitely none of that fancy food and seating and all of that.
Okay. Hold on. I
Do you need a suit and tie to watch a film?
just about. Ow. Well, it doesn't really give me an explanation. That sucks. I was trying to look up like more explanation, but I guess it's only because it's like CMX Cinebistro. But I mean, it used to have like a description or sorts. But yeah, dang, sucks. All right, well, next time then. But yeah, it was. Do you? No. I saw when I went there, I saw a gentleman who was in shorts and like khaki stuff. So no, you don't need that. But I mean, it is that kind of fancy look that. So how it goes is that you get there before your movie begins, like 10-15 minutes before, and you get sat down at your seat. Now there is someone who sits you down, not like sits you down, but takes you to your seat, right?
Jeez.
So sort of like a what is it? I don't know what they're called. Not
It's
like
like
a host, a waiter, waiter. Let's go
yeah.
with waiter. And they sit down. You see, and they do give you a menu. So they do give you a menu of the list of food and stuff. But so you sit down, you order food because you're ordering your food beforehand. Now I have seen IMAX do this. So I've been to an IMAX theater, and they do allow you to order your food beforehand, and they bring it into you. But
Whoa.
that's an IMAX theater. Really fancy. Oh, it costs, it's costly, but it's worth it. So what happens is they give you a menu. You kind of go look through it. Of course, you're there early, so you're there before the movie. Um, and then you kind of go through this list. I think it was like 2 or 3 pages because I mean it wasn't cheap by any measure. Uh, but
I'm sure.
I was like, I had $100 on me. I'm going for this. I mean, it may be the only time I ever do this, so that's what I did. And so you do your food before. Now they do give you, I think they do give you a drink, and you do have to go and get a refill for your drink, obviously. But you do get your drink. Um, I think right after that, and then I think it's maybe 10 minutes into the movie or so, maybe once the movie gets really started, that they bring out your food to you, whatever you've ordered. And I think you can order more during, but you have to go out,
Mm,
right? So you have to go out to the little. So it's like this. It's not like a small box area, but it's like this window area, and you can go there and you can order more food or whatever. And of course, they have the menus and stuff, but you can order there. I think you can only order up to a certain period of time because obviously, once your movie's like a, 3/4 done, I think they're like, yeah, you can't.
yeah.
But no, it's one of those things you have to experience first, otherwise you're kind of just missing out. And I again, I know IMAX has done that too to some degree. It's not fancy food, but if you do order your food, they will bring it into you when time comes. And so there's that. But yeah, Cinebistro, or anything like it's an experience worth having, but it will cost you.
I mean, it's worth paying to experience once.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely once. Cause it's same with like an IMAX theater, right? Like you can't always.
Yeah.
It's too expensive to go see an IMAX because um I went to go see Oppenheimer in IMAX. Obviously, I went to go see, what was it, Godzilla. It was Godzilla X Kong. I went to go see in IMAX. Um, but it's really just one of those things where it's a luxury item. Those kind of theaters are luxury items, and how they survive, I don't know because of all the whatever happened with COVID, like regular theaters. But it's nice to have that little luxury because if you do want to do it, you can. But Lord, does it cost?
It does. And I feel like that's kind of was which I would say COVID probably kick-started it, honestly.
Mm,
But now everything is streaming services, and I mean,
yeah,
gosh, you can get on Amazon Prime and you can rent movies pretty much while they're still in the movies.
yeah,
Um, so I feel like COVID kind of it just kind of whipped out a lot of the moviegoers. But see, like here where I live, the closest IMAX theater is probably about an hour and a half away.
sheesh.
But they are doing construction on one that's going to be about maybe 20, 30 minutes away. So much closer. So when that actually gets done, I'll get to, because I've only been once and
Mm,
this was probably 20 plus years ago. I was probably in middle school. Um,
wow.
so I would really like to go and experience IMAX like now with a movie coming out that would be awesome.
Mm,
Um, but I don't know when they're going to get the one
yeah,
close by complete. So
yeah. That's always the thing is they start it and it's like stuff comes up and all this other stuff. Because there's it's just one of those things where um, the one I that's near me is
yeah.
about an hour. It's about like an hour away. But the funny thing is that it crosses the time zone. So
Oh,
so I'm on the Eastern time zone and it crosses into Central. So you're going. So really, when you're going there, you're going back in time. But when you're coming home, it's like a 2-hour drive.
that's crazy.
So I'm
Time
like,
zones are weird, dude.
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel like the biggest experience of time zone that I ever had was actually in the military, and it
mm,
was when I went. I was stationed at the time in South Carolina, and we were deployed to Korea, South Korea.
Oh,
And it's like I think a 13-hour time difference. So it was really weird going there because we were getting there so much later
mm,
because we like flew into the future kind of.
yeah. Yeah.
And then when I came home, it was a lot different because it was like it was weird. It's like I got back in the States at almost the
Mm,
same time I departed Korea. So
wow.
it was like time had only shifted an hour, even though I'd flew backwards like 13 hours. So yeah, I was jet lagged for several days.
Man, yeah, because the thing of it is that um yeah, you basically, like you're saying, you're flying into the future and you're always going to be in the future because you're basically a day ahead of everyone else on the Western Hemisphere. So,
Yeah.
so you're just
Yeah.
like, so it's like when they're talking to you, it's night for them, but it's day for you. It's like, yeah, it's looking pretty nice. Like, yeah, I appreciate. It's like 3 a.m. where I'm at. But no, I mean that's a pretty fun thing that when you, I mean, it's not fun in essence of like when you experience it and it's like, oh great, I've just lost a bunch of time, but it's in the experience of you're going to someplace new,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, and your experience, like, I mean, South Korea, or I know some military station Japan or whatever. You have a whole bunch of different areas, but I mean, how off the top of your head, would you know how many stations there are over on the Eastern Hemisphere?
Not right off, mainly because each branch has, each branch you have Air Force bases there, you have Army bases,
Mm,
Navy ports. I mean,
yeah.
it would be so hard to. I mean, personally, in Korea, I went to Kunsan Air Base, which was mainly Air Force. There were a few Army guys, Army
Mm.
units there, and then there was actually the South Korean Air Force as well.
Ooh.
So it was a really neat experience because in South Korea, it's mandatory that all males do 2 years in the
Mm,
military. It's like,
mm,
it's mandatory unless you have like a medical exemption or something like that. But
yeah.
um, it was really cool because we legitimately served with and worked with a lot of the South Korean Air Force.
Mm,
Our pilots would go and taxi down and take off, and then right behind them, we would have South Korean guys go and take off. So
nice.
it was super cool. I would love to go back to Korea at some point.
Mhm. And do you know the language well enough, or
No, no, not at all.
you just you're just over there like, American.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, too, honestly, like you kind of stick out. I
Yeah,
mean, um, when I was there, we were allowed to go off base, but there was a curfew. I think it was like 11 p.m. We had to be back on base.
right,
So, and you had to be in groups of three or more just because
right.
they didn't want you going out there and small groups or by yourself.
Yeah.
I think now, and obviously, if someone in chat knows, they can correct me, but I think now they don't allow anybody off base anymore.
Really?
I don't know if like there was an incident or what, um, but actually on base, like if you went to the commissary or the BX or something like that,
Mm,
most of the workers that were in there were South Korean.
mm,
And honestly, most of them spoke amazing English because like their parents, had worked on the base or something like that, and they kind of grew up around it. So
mm,
a lot of your South Korean workers on the base speak really good English because it's kind of like they have to be vetted anyway before they can work on the base. So
yeah.
you can actually communicate with a lot of the workers on base pretty well. But once you leave the base and you kind of go out, that's when it's kind of 50-50. Sometimes you may find somebody that speaks decent English, and then you'll run into people that don't speak English at all. So,
And then, like, they look at you like, and then you're just
yeah,
like, American.
yeah. Yeah, and honestly, when you have like a bunch of younger, white kids with shaved heads
Yeah.
or like buzz cuts or like the hind tides or whatever, you really stick out. I mean,
Yeah.
you stick out like a sore thumb. So, but everyone that I interacted with were just like super nice. They were
Yeah.
all super, super nice and humble, and even if like they didn't understand you well, like there was usually somebody around that understood English decently that they could
Mm.
help you out.
Yeah.
Um, but it was a great, it was a great experience. Minus, I had to leave the deployment early
Oh.
due to a family death. But
Yeah.
that minus that, I really enjoyed Korea. I did.
The same accent I have. Well, hot diggity dog then there, NC.
I'm
I think
close.
NC, the NC in his name, NC native, means stands for North Carolina. So a southern accent is dying. It's not really. I've heard some people with sort of maybe Cajun like or Louisiana like sort of, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's dying unless
I'm
you're talking
like
like
I'm like in Virginia, but barely. Like I'm
eh,
right on that Virginia Tennessee border. Like 10 minutes from me is Tennessee,
yeah.
so I'm basically barely in Virginia. But in the Air Force, I was the only guy in my entire squadron from the South.
Mm,
Everybody else was Northern or like Midwestern or just way out west.
mm,
And so, affectionately, my nickname in my squadron was Sling Blade.
yeah.
So, so that's just what I went with. I was the only Southern guy in my whole entire squadron. So,
Yeah.
that's what
Damn.
they named me, and it stuck.
Damn, come on, man. Right, man.
I
Well,
should
I
have just
can't.
talked like that the whole time.
He's like, does anyone understand what the sling blade guys say? You have to be like 200 IQ to be in the AF. Well, there you have 200 IQ man right there.
Ooh,
Um,
don't know if it's that high.
just don't just let him think that way. Let him think that way. No, yeah, it's interesting because I've talked to a lot of different people of different parts of military. I've talked to Marines, I've talked to Army. I think I've talked to some. I think I've talked to Navy. I think I did talk to a Navy person because it's just a whole bundle. Some of them are gamers. I did have one lady on who I believe was in the Marines, and she is more of a book comic book sort of a deal.
Yeah.
But she's still in. She's counting down the days until she retires, and she's like, "I got this clock behind me right there, stating when I'll retire." And it's like, "Wow, you must really hate it in there."
Retirement benefits are pretty good.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Well, they
and I,
should be, honestly. Yeah,
yeah, and just benefits in general while you're active duty are
yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And realistically, I probably would have stayed in if things didn't happen the
yeah.
way that they did.
Right,
Um,
understandable.
and when I was going back a little bit, when I was in Korea, the reason why my deployment personally was cut short is because
Mm,
my dad had actually he tragically passed away in a car accident. So I actually had to fly back home, which was a crazy experience because I had a
yeah.
bus take me from Kunsan Air Base to
Mm,
Kunsan City, which is about a 10-minute drive. And then I had to take a bus from Kunsan City all the way to Seoul,
mm.
South Korea, which is kind of like South Korea's New York. I mean, that
Yeah,
Seoul
yeah,
is their biggest city.
yeah.
But it was overwhelming because I was the only American on the bus.
Mm.
And then I got to Seoul, and that airport was ginormous,
Sheesh.
and I was the only American. I didn't see any other Americans anywhere. I couldn't figure out where I was supposed to go. Most of my ticket was in Korean,
Mm,
except for the numbers, like the
mm.
numerics I could read. So I had to walk around trying to figure out what gate I was at, where I was
Yeah.
supposed to go. And finally, I found like this really sweet old lady that
Mhm.
was like running this little kiosk.
Yeah.
And after like probably 15-20 minutes of me making laps back and forth trying to figure out, she
Yeah.
stopped me and she spoke perfect English.
Ah!
And she's like, "Let me see your ticket." So I gave her my ticket and she read it and she's like, "I got you. Come here." And she took me right to the gate where I was supposed to go, showed my
Nice.
ticket to the dude there. And where I was still in BDUs, I was in uniform. So I didn't have to wait in line. And the line was like
Wow.
huge. And
Jeez.
they literally brought me right through and took me right to the gate and helped me check in. And then I sat there until they let us board the plane. So,
Nice.
had it not been for that elderly lady,
Mm.
I don't know if I would have found my gate, to be honest, because I couldn't find anyone that spoke English. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think they're like Japan where they do put some English words around, so to
there's
speak.
not as much.
Yeah. So I think there is that point of, I mean, it's South Korea, so it's like you're in our country, so that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Now do you, because you were there, did you have anything to do with, I mean, I don't know if the American military does, but do you guys have anything to do with the DMZ? Like, do you touch it? Do you go anywhere near it? Do you change up the
Um,
guard?
no,
Okay.
that now you can go to it.
Okay.
I did do that because I wanted to experience it. I
Yeah.
wanted to see what it was like, and I feel honestly, I feel like that was probably the most intense place I've ever been in my life
Mhm.
because you can hear a pin drop. It is the quietest place I've ever been in my entire life. It is just deafening silent.
Jeez.
And you've got north and south right at this borderline, and they are staring at each other. They're right across maybe 6, 7 feet from each other,
Jeez.
and they have to basically stand at attention and look at each other and
Wow.
and just wait for one of them to move or provoke or something like that.
Mhm.
But it's extremely intense, and it was an experience to say the least. But
Mhm.
that is controlled completely by Korea, north and
Okay.
south. So we didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've always, because I mean, there's always a thing of not sure of that, but also then of course, America's turn in that regard for the Korean War, or
Yeah,
police action, as some would say, depending on how you want to look at it.
yeah.
Um, but and most of that is because I used to watch MASH, so forgive me if I'm inaccurate. Um, but I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, I think it was, what was it? President Trump was the only person to have stepped on that arena, because it was. I remember the video was like he was at the Kim Jong Un was at that piece, right? He can't cross over, can he? He
Nope.
can't cross over. So he's at that step up. I think it is. There's that step up, and he's right there, and the president's right there. So he has the president come over, and the president goes right over that area, and I'm like, I don't know anything about this, but I feel like something's off here.
I mean, to my knowledge, he was the first president to ever do that. Um, and it's just like Kim Jong Un can't cross the border and go, because then that is seen as like an act of aggression or like an act
Yeah,
of war, and then
yeah,
they're going to kick it all off again. I
yeah.
mean, the whole reason that my unit was deployed there
Mm,
was because at the time, North Korea was being a little bit extra North
mhm,
Korea, and Kim Jong Un was like, we're gonna blow up South Korea, essentially,
yeah,
layman's terms. So
yeah,
they sent Shaw Air Force Base out of South Carolina, and then they sent Hill Air Force Base out of Utah. And
mhm,
we took all of our F 16s over there and teamed up with the South Korean Air Force at
mhm,
Kunsan just to show a force. And thankfully, he didn't try anything while we
mhm,
were there.
mhm.
But
Understood.
that was the whole point of our deployment, was because at the time the tensions were a lot higher than they had been.
Jeez, that sucks too. Yeah, that's just crazy in itself when you're just like there to be like, yeah, we're here to help, and it's like you stay over there now. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's crazy how different. Which I never did cross into North Korea. Obviously, or
Yeah,
I would have been detained or probably a
yeah,
prisoner. But the way South Korea is just totally free. They
yeah,
can go about, do what they want, live life. But North Korea is almost the exact opposite. I mean, everything is controlled from their radios, their
yeah,
newspapers, their TVs. Like, they don't really see an outside world. And it's just so crazy because, you look at it and it's kind of like, well, it's the same people. Why can't you just have a country? But
yeah. It's only one step away. It's like one parcel away from, South Korea to China, because I mean that's the only bridge thing right there is North Korea. Um, their rations, their marriages, their underwear change, their underwear changes. I don't want to be in charge of that. But no, that does kind of bring me up earlier. It's like, do they? So it's sort of like how Japan has memorials and stuff for, the atomic bomb and all stuff. Does South Korea have their own for when we were there, or do you
Not
know
that
about?
not that I saw.
Okay,
Um, but there's a lot of areas that we were always instructed not to go to.
okay,
Um, and that could just I never did ask why back then because I
yeah,
was young and I didn't really think about it. But
yeah,
but that probably had something to do with like some cultural understandings and things
hmm,
like that. So, and then too, the South Korean like equivalent to like CIA or like your secret undercover guys, they
hmm,
kind of mix in with just the general population of South Koreans just to try and get like intel or things like that because of North Korea, obviously.
yeah,
So we were always kind of told that's why we had curfews in groups of three or more,
hmm,
and we were only really allowed to go as far as Kunsan City or like the DMZ. Um, and that was about it. Other than that, we couldn't really go anywhere.
yeah. That's understandable. Because I mean, again, you are a foreigner in a foreign land, so you kind of do have to conscript to their um, cultural stuff. Same way, same with Japan, but I mean, that was so the one with the Japan is a bit of a different story because
Yeah.
we kind of gave them a big boot, and that was a different time back then.
Yeah.
Um, lot better now, a lot better now. It still was a tragedy in its own right, but I mean, it's just one of those things where it happened, and that's that. Did you see more Hyundais or more Fords on their roads?
Oh my goodness. So in Korea, it's funny
Mm,
because their top manufacturers over there is Kia and Hyundai, and almost every car that I saw over there was either a Kia or a Hyundai.
really?
Like almost everything. Every now and again, you'd see like a little work truck or something
Yeah,
that would be American. I mean, it would be like Ford or
yeah.
Dodge or something like that. But I would say, in my experience, 90% of the vehicles I saw were Hyundai or Kia.
Wow. Well, it kind of makes sense because I think Hyundai is key. It must be their brands.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I know that Toyota is Japan's. I
yeah.
think Toyota. I think Toyota and no, maybe
Nissan.
Nissan. That's right. She's not. I don't even know where most of the cars come from. Kia is not my forte. Well, neither is mine. Neither is mine. I can.
I actually drive a Kia Soul, so
It shows you how good it is if you are driving it. I drive a Ford Fiesta, but that's because I bought the car. So what happened is I bought my car during when the COVID stuff was going on,
yeah.
and used cars were the big thing because of newer cars. You couldn't buy them because of the chip situation, right? You couldn't,
Yep.
and that's kind of sad. We rely on one country to produce our chips, but that's where we're at. And so where my car, um, whatever the banks go by, they go by something else that's not the Kelly Blue Book. So
Yeah.
don't go by the Kelly Blue Book for a car because your bank is the one giving you a loan. They go by something else. So ask
Yep.
them. Um, but so my car, through whatever they were going through, was probably worth about like 6,500 at best by the look of it.
Yeah.
The car company was charging me like $9,000 for the vehicle.
Whoa.
But then again, it makes sense because used cars, they didn't require the chips. They were
Yeah.
already there. So they were pretty, gouging for those prices in a sense. Um, out of potatoes. Okay. Uh-huh. Ha 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 ha. Goodness sake. I mean, yeah, and I think that's what's going to happen with the news that was announced like yesterday, the day before, with like that 100 billion chip thing. We'll see if
Yeah.
it comes to fruition though, because these things take a while. Same with the Apple stuff or whatever. Um, but yeah, it was just during that time, and I was like, okay, I had some money set aside, so that was great. I'm still trying to set money aside just in case one day. But it was just like if I did not have the amount of money I had set aside, I
Yeah.
would have not gotten the loan I needed. And I had a Toyota Corolla, and the engine was just puttering.
Yeah.
It was puttering, and I was like, "Dear Lord in heaven, thank you for this. Please,
So let me make it.
just let me make it." And that's what I was like when I was trying to drive to the place where I was getting my car from. Yeah, I was like, "Please, just let me get to the dealership. Just let me get to the dealership," because I could feel it. It was I don't know what was wrong with it per se. I mean, when I was working in a car dealership, not that one. I was working in a different one that was selling BMWs. Um, there was I once had the guys look in the mechanic sort of area. I once had a look in there, and they used one of the things to look in there, and they saw scratchings on the insides of the piston walls.
Oh,
So I'm thinking that may have played into effect, but at the end of the day, I did need a new vehicle. So this one has been going pretty well. It's just I've got to get better at putting money aside. Otherwise, I'm not sure I'll have enough money for the next one. So or not. Do we have like two? Oh yeah, two 2 year olds on Social Security. That was funny. Um, a bunch of Draculas over here. It's true. It's true. I mean, you already got Dick Van Dyke almost going to be 100. I mean, come on, that's insane. And I saw a video. I can't remember what it was, but it was on Twitter X, and I saw a video where he was like on a red carpet or something. He was walking like nothing was wrong. He had a cane in hand and all this stuff, and he was just like
it's kind of ridiculous.
yeah, he's a little tap dancing. But he I know he's done commercials for um like these what is it, like these jazz type uh exercises or whatever. Oh gosh. I've got to look it up. Dick.
He kind of reminds me of he kind of reminds me of Chuck Norris. Like I think Chuck Norris is going to live forever because the dude is like got to be. I mean, Chuck Norris got to at least be 75 years old, and he still looks like he's like 50.
Uh, no, it's commercial. I saw this. Yeah, no, but I mean you could tell in his face that he's not as young looking. Commercials, because I know he's been in a commercial. Um, oh goodness, there was. I'm trying to find it. I'm gonna have to go look up on YouTube, unfortunately, because it was like he was in these commercials, like these, what those movies that are or commercials that are like the uh, as to buy for items. I can't remember what they call that. Okay, Dick Van Dyke.
Oh yeah, Clint Eastwood. I see in your comments, Clint Eastwood's 90 plus. He's probably like 95.
Uh,
I would imagine.
yeah,
And
I'm
he's
not.
still like doing his thing. He's still directing movies and everything.
Oh yeah, yep. I'm not seeing it. I'm trying to find because there was a commercial I saw where he was in it, but I'm not seeing that. So it is what it is. Oh well. But in Glee, that's Dick Chuck Norris in Glee. That's that's true. That's true. Probably. Well, yeah, he does. He does work out. He does do some sort of act. And that's a good thing too. Clint Eastwood. Yeah. Well, Clint Eastwood. I don't know what his ordeal is. I don't know if he works out or not. But I mean, that man is pushing it. And I'm pretty sure that his family is glad because he was. Didn't he do a movie? I think you were saying that he did a movie like not too long ago, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just does Bowflex? Well, at least he's not doing like that Tybo stuff that was from a long time ago. That was certainly something else. But yeah, it goes to show you that eating well I mean it's not a guarantee, but eating well and having a good lifestyle can lead to a long life. It's just a lot of people need to stop eating out at those Billy Banks. That's right. Billy Banks was for Tybo. That's right. Long time ago. I remember when Zumba was a thing. I remember when all these weird little exercises, uh, things that kept coming out. It was just a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, again, it goes to show that if you have an active lifestyle and are taking good care of yourself, you could live to be a 90. I'm pretty sure some people look, I just want to quit it at 85. Just let me quit it.
So much depends on it too, like your body and your makeup, your genetics, like what's going to happen. I mean, there's so much that goes into it. I mean, at the end of the day, you could eat healthy and exercise and be like super fit
Yeah,
lifestyle and then like still have
croak.
a heart attack, you know.
Yeah,
It's it's like a
cancer.
game of chance, honestly. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, you do your best to give you the better odds, right?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
it's like going to a casino. You could say bet it all on red, bet it on black, but you're like, I'll bet it on red 65 or something like that.
Yeah.
And you the more you have to put on there, the better your odds. But I mean, yeah, like you said, it's still a thing where you can have your DNA and just croak. And I think it's one of the things that people kind of you see these people who the celebrity dies, whatever, and they're kind of sad. Of course, the Gene Hackman thing is its own, but you have the Earl Jones, you have all these different celebrities, and people make sad posts about it, whatever. But I'm like, you guys do realize that's your reminder, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to get off the internet a little bit and go do something a little more than commentary on a celebrity's death, because we all have that one-way ticket there. I don't know how to tell you any more better than that.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of the part you kind of see these people get into internet dramas over nothing, and it's like, you guys really want to spend an hour arguing on this?
I that's I don't know. That's never really been my thing. You know, it's
Yeah,
like even when I was younger, in high school and stuff, I was always just kind of chill, go with the flow, easy going. Like I didn't ever get involved in like drama and stuff. I didn't care.
yeah,
And it even now to this day, like man, and you know, being in this space, you know,
yeah.
sometimes the streaming and content creation space can be um it can,
Detrimental.
yeah, and it can be cutthroat. It can be drama, and you know, for me, I'm 35. Like I don't care about clout chasing and drama and who said this and that. And
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, like I just want to hang out with cool, genuine people and
Mhm.
have fun, play games, and just make friendships. You know, I,
Yeah.
I don't really care about what some person said or did. It's because doesn't have anything to do with me, you
Yeah.
know? S
I've certainly fallen into some of those holes a bit, but trying to learn to get better away from it. But you're not wrong that, I mean, even for me, it's like doing this thing. I just found something that I didn't see a lot of people doing, because who do you know as a content creator is inviting not only people who create content but don't create content on just to have a chat with them. I
Sure.
mean, usually you see other content creators like, let's get together, let's like share tips, whatever. I'm like, okay, but I mean, you've got an opportunity to talk to a huge swath of people, and you're, that's just my perspective, right? I'm not gonna tell people how to create content. I'm not here to do that for you. All right, guys, don't look at me for content creation. I'm probably the worst person. But my point is that you have this opportunity, you have this technology, you have this tool to reach beyond yourself, and you can, I know some people do game with their community or something like that, but you can do more than just this one thing, and that's why I enjoy this kind of section a bit, because I'm not tied down to, like, I have to look up subjects for, like, you see those people political, the gaming, all this stuff. You have to look up for subjects for those things, and it's plenty out there. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
at a certain point, it becomes like, what new are you doing?
Yeah.
Because I can't.
And I think like when it comes to like the streaming and content creation space, like you know, and I know people that gosh have been doing it 5, 10 plus years. You know,
Right.
I've only been at it for 2.5 years. So you know, even at that, I'm still kind of a new guy to it.
Yeah.
But I want to say that it's like people are going to come and go, right?
Yeah.
Like people are going to come and go, and people will. Um, I've seen this so many times in just the short 2.5 years of
Mhm.
of people saying that they'll always be there for you. They'll support you no matter what platform you're on, no matter where you go, what
Mhm.
content you do, whether it's gaming, music, something else,
Mhm.
commentary, whatever. But in all reality, just in my experience, and it may be different for everybody else, but just in my experience, for every 100 people that tell you that, there's probably one or two that mean it. And
Yeah.
I can look back at my 2.5 year journey, and there's a handful of people that are still here from like the beginning of when I
Mhm.
first started. And then of course along the journey I've met a lot more people and whatnot. And again, some have stayed and some have gone.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm at the end of the day, I'm always thankful for every single person that ever comes by stream
Mhm.
and views the stream or lurks it or hits the like or comments, because we all know like how oversaturated this market is. Like it's
All of it.
crazy.
Mhm.
And so I
Yep.
look at it and I'm like, man, there's millions of streamers every day.
Oh
So
yeah.
the fact that somebody takes 5 minutes out of their day to come
Mhm.
by and just say, "Hey, what's up, Ram? How's it going?" Or "Hope the stream's going well," or says, "Hey, I'm here lurking while doing life
Mhm.
stuff." You
Yeah.
know, that means the world to me, because I look at it like that. They could have went to the millionth, 500,000th streamer down the road
Mhm.
and hung out there, but they come by the stream.
Yeah.
So, and I get it because I'm older and I understand working full time, I understand having a family, I understand
Yeah.
all of that stuff, and trying to balance life.
Mhm.
So it's virtually impossible. There's only 24 hours in a day, so
Yep.
nobody can support everybody every day. It's physically impossible.
Yep.
Um, but I see a lot of new streamers that are like want to get started or maybe have just gotten started, and I've had a few of them reach out to me and just ask for like tips or suggestions. And I always like, it always comes back to just be yourself. Like you
Mhm.
have to be who you are, and it may take some time. Like unless you're just stupidly lucky, you're not going to blow up overnight.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Mhm.
But if you are yourself, you will eventually, I feel like, draw in the right audience for you.
Mhm.
Because if you're a different person each stream, you're going to get a year, 2, 3 years down the road, if you stick with it that long, and be like, I'm not doing anything. Like I'm
Mhm.
not growing, or I'm not, meeting whatever goals that you set.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so important that you just be yourself every day, every stream, who you are, let that show in your streams and your content. And eventually people find their way to that.
Yeah.
But so many times you just get so many people just clout chasing or drama or just negativity, toxicity stuff. And
Mhm.
I guess I'm too old for it. And I just
You hold the
enjoy
trap.
I just
Mhm.
enjoy hanging out. I mean, that's what it's all about to me. It's not a money thing.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I I work a full-time job, and then I
Mhm. Same.
also am a disabled veteran,
Yeah.
with PTSD and things like that.
Mhm.
And so it's not a money thing for me. I enjoy streaming because I love gaming. I've gamed since I was a tiny kid.
Mhm.
Um, and if I wasn't streaming, I would be gaming anyway. So
Yeah.
why not just stream what I'm gaming
Yeah.
and just have fun with it? And
Mhm.
whoever comes by, they're welcome. I'll chat with you the whole stream.
Mhm.
Um, but so many times I feel like people just get into it with the dollar signs in their eyes, and they're just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in this game and I'm gonna make $1 million." And I'm like, uh,
Yeah.
maybe not, but set your sights high, set your goals, but also be realistic.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I feel like you just have to be yourself. And if you ever get to a point where you're starting to get some success,
Mhm.
you'll see more people show up and be
Mhm.
like, I can't tell you how many times over the 2.5 years, like I've went out of my way to help people, whether it was like in Discord or social media or like collabs,
Mhm.
tips, suggestions, whatever, and helped them out the best I could. And then once they got enough from me, then they just disappear and I never see them again.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of people that are going to be like,
Use and abuse.
yeah, they're gonna leech off you what they can, and then once they feel like they've got everything from you that they can get, they leave.
Yeah.
Um, And so you kind of have to pick and choose your battles because it's hard to know if somebody's being genuine or not. But I feel like you have to stay guarded a little bit.
Yeah. No, you're here for all the clout. All the clout. You're here for all the clout.
Yeah, all that clout chasing.
I brought on the ramrod for the steam. Oh my goodness. I'm too fat and very introverted. I'm not gonna get big. I know this. Well, my thing is in coming into this because I started in like what was it? I started in like mid of 2023. I just started doing like pre-recorded videos because
Yeah,
I couldn't stream to Rumble at the time. And when I could, I started like I think August of 2023 streaming. 'Cause I was using like OBS at the time,
yeah.
and then I used Rumble Studio when it came out. It was in beta, so you had to sign up for a wait list.
Oh
That
man.
was that was
Whew.
towards the end of 2023 as well. But the point of the matter is that this I did gaming, I did streaming game for a while, but it was just like it just wasn't that thing that clicked. And,
Yeah,
you try to figure out what clicks, and so it wasn't until like I had the first person on, and then persons after. It's like this conversational thing. I'm a night owl, and I spend most of it at work. Well, it's understandable. Some people are third shifters. Um,
true.
but going back to that, I was just like, well, this conversational thing is something that clicks with me because it's like I again you do have a lot of podcasts out there that do talk to people, but they're mostly other content creators or people. So this is a weird thing I've found with the sort of uh, content creator thing is that you have content creators who sort of build their circle, right? They'll build the circle a bit, and yeah, they'll bring people in that are within their niche, whatever their niche is, like comic books, movies, or whatnot, and
Yeah,
or they'll try to talk to someone who's a little higher in that regard or something of higher status, right? And I'll usually go in that direction. But for me, it's like I do this thing that yeah, and that's what you have to think of it as because a lot of people, again, like you said, a lot of people will go into it with some other intention. And for me, the thing of it is like once hitting on the conversational part, it was like there's something here I don't see any other creator doing, and it's like it feels like it should be like the easiest thing that anyone can do, although it's not because some people have anxiety or are not sure what to say,
yeah,
all the variety of reasons you can give. But it was like there are a bunch of these creators who have all these followers, and I'm like, why don't they invite any of those people on their show? I mean, it's like if you had like 5,000 followers and could invite 500 onto your show. I mean, it's a risk. Don't get me wrong. It is a
yeah,
risk, but it's like you have this opportunity to do that, and it feels like no one was taking advantage of that. I'm just like, how is it that you can have these people who are connected with all the stuff they have? They have all these followers, and most of the followers are supporters in one way or another, whether it be going to a meetup or financial, whatever, and yet they never bring them on a show.
yeah,
And I'm just like, that's the weirdest thing. Is like, it should be. It feels like this thing we have with technology and stuff should make us so interconnected. Like we're willing to have conversations with people who are willing to take up that opportunity because it is an opportunity. It's a two-way street, though. It's an opportunity
yeah,
for me as much as it is for you because you don't know who I am and I don't know who you are, but through the conversation we get to learn bits and pieces, and time after that we get to build up that story right there. But it's like you have all these creators, whether they're 1,000 followers or whatever. I'm just like, there's a big opportunity here. It was like you've probably played Monopoly before, I
oh
imagine.
yeah,
Just as long as you haven't hurt anyone, because like you passed my motel.
yeah,
But those are the fun ones. Like, hey, pay up first before you keep going.
yeah,
There was it's like that spot that's called free parking, right? And there's different cards throughout the game where you like community chest, whatever, chance, community chest, chance. You pick up, and some of those cards will have you put money in the center, right? That's
yep,
free parking. Well, it's like you see this free parking and there's money laying there, and no one's going for it because they're either busy with their thing, whatever, and that's fine. Until Settlers of Catan, I never played that game, so I might be lucky. Um, But the thing of it is, like, you see all these other people doing it, and yes, they can do their stuff or whatever. I'm not here to tell them what to do, but it's like there's this thing that's missing an ability to have all the different types of people connect with each other, and just on the conversational level, and it just wasn't seeing it very much. And so I did it, and I kept going with it. I mean, it wasn't until last year in April that I started doing my my month thing like that,
yeah,
and And so, come this April will be a total year of doing that, although the conversational stuff didn't start till like November of 2023. So you have this thing I didn't see a lot of people do, and I'm doing it on a scale that I don't, fully understand myself, but it's like a it's like a sense of something missing, and yet it feels like it's so easy to do, and I'm just boggling my mind over here. It's like, why isn't more people doing it? I've met people who do, but then again, they come to the satisfaction of, not all, but some, they come to the satisfaction of building their circle, and then they're just kind of nepotism it, right? They
Yeah.
nepotism it, all that stuff, and I'm just like, there's so many people out there. I don't care if you're a creator or not. There's just so many people out there, and it's like there's so little time, and it's just like we've got this thing here to do it, and it can be so amazing, and yet it's so overlooked.
And I
And
think it definitely comes down to like people's I think it definitely comes down to like people's niches and kind of their interest. And
mm,
because you see people doing like, your gaming stuff or reaction stuff, commentary, you see
mhm.
people doing like, the political thing, and you see people doing what is the ASMR thing. That crap
Oh
freaks
yeah.
me out. I can't do that, but it freaks me. I don't like listening to people chew things and like, you know what I mean. It's so, but it's content, I guess.
Mm,
So it's one of those things that I think you find your niche, and then you maybe you stick with that, build with that, get you a foundation, and then as you grow, then you say, well, maybe I'm going to start incorporating this new section
mhm,
into my content,
mhm.
whether it be like, hey, we're going to game on these days, and then on this day of the week we're going to do like a podcast, or we're going to do an interview or something like that. But
Mhm.
it's first and foremost, you got to have fun doing it, because if you don't,
Yeah.
then it's kind of like,
Work.
yeah, it's
It's
kind
like
of,
it's like another job.
yeah, and like, for me, this is a hobby. Like
Mhm.
streaming and gaming is a hobby. It's not my livelihood or my
Yeah.
financial means.
Yeah.
So in my case, it's like, well, if I don't have fun, then why am I even doing it? Because I could
Oh
be doing
yeah.
something else.
Oh yeah.
But I genuinely love like just gaming and talking to people and chat. And, when you have people like reach out and is like, hey, I really enjoyed your stream. Like you're super down to earth and humble, and you chat with us, you're interactive.
Mhm.
Um, that means a lot, because you
Mhm.
do see some gaming streamers that are like so locked into their game that
Yep.
like people are in there and they're like, hey, what's up? How's your day? And like they never get acknowledged.
Mhm.
Um, and then, you do see people that are just like busting your eardrums because they're
Yeah.
like yelling and screaming at everything. And, like, don't get me wrong. I mean, hey, I'm all for the hype. I'm all for, trying to get chat hopped up and all that. But
Mhm.
that's just not my personality. Like
Hype train.
yeah, my personality is just like, hey, what's up? Welcome in. How's it
Yeah.
going? And like, if chat is really going, I don't care to pause the game and just chat. Like, that's
Mhm.
fine with me. Like,
Mhm.
because most of the time I'm playing like single player story driven games, or like Nintendo exclusives or something like
Yeah.
that. So it's something easily you can pause and just chat if
Yeah.
if it's really going.
Mhm.
But to me, it's kind of like a lot of times people hop in your stream and they hop in chat because they want you to acknowledge them. They want you to
Yeah.
speak to them.
Yeah.
So I've just never understood the mindset of like, nope, I'm so locked in this Call of Duty match or this Fortnite match that I have no idea what you're saying or that you even exist over here.
Mhm.
I'm just going to play my game. And
Yeah.
I've never understood that. Like, I'll pause the game and chat with anybody that comes by, because like I
Mhm.
said earlier, they could have picked a million other streamers to go and watch, but the fact that they come by your channel
Mhm.
means that, well, they thought enough of you to stop by your channel and be like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Mhm.
And that says a lot to me.
Mhm.
So, at the end of the day, I'll pause a game for however long I need to just to chat. If
Yeah.
everybody's wanting to talk, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of those things where I'm not confined to a
No.
space because it's too open. I mean, for some people it's too open. I've had those conversations with people. It's like, well, I don't know what I would say. I don't know how this thing. Like, if you know what the color, if you can answer the question, what color is the sky, you're good. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's as basic as you need to be in just a conversationalist. But it's just one of those things where I didn't see a lot of people doing it, and with our technology as it is, it feels like it's something lost to. And you're right there. Again, I know a lot of content creators use tools and stuff to kind of get noticed and whatnot, but it's like you're gonna still be locked into your game and all this stuff, and a game's a game no matter what.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
so before I call it night, yeah, no, that's a nice thing you do, Lucas. But anyway, it is the top. It's a little past the top of the hour, but it is the top of the hour, or power hour, as I call it. So what happens is that I set aside some time for us to promote ourselves. Now, obviously, there are other creators who do it like at the beginning of their stream or show or whatever, at the end of the show or sporadic throughout. I do it at the every top of the hour. I have somebody on because sort of like a time thing, right? You know, like the grandfather clock that goes dung, all that stuff, or it does it for every well, like it's at two and then it's like two rings and whatnot. So I do it because it's just kind of a timekeeper, really, because like you, I do have a full-time job as well. So but other than that, so I did put your link down below, but if you want to promote yourself in your way, the floor is yours.
Oh, well, thank you, sir.
Mhm.
So, little about myself for those that maybe didn't catch it earlier, but I am Ramrod, and I do play a variety of games, really. I play mostly single player story driven games or like Nintendo, exclusives, Mario and
Yeah,
Zelda. I mean, that's what I grew up with. I love
yeah.
like OG Nintendo stuff. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm wearing a Mario Kart shirt, so but but I do stream on Rumble and TikTok and YouTube. But
Mhm.
Rumble is definitely the primary platform for me.
Mhm.
And recently made the creator program. Um, and I'm honestly, I'm like I said, I'm just an old guy. Like I'm just 35, and I enjoy playing games and just having fun with chat.
Mhm.
So you'll probably catch me on here a lot playing Who Knows. Um, and I'm usually on X or Twitter, whatever you. I still call it Twitter because when I say X, I feel like I'm talking like a porn site or something. So I always just say Twitter.
I
Um,
say Twitter X, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah, so I always say Twitter, but
Mhm.
that's usually where I'm most active and like posting and talking to people.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, what you see is what you get. I'm pretty down to earth, so I love to talk to people. So it like stuff like this is fun to me.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool time. Cause again, I've met a lot of different people, a lot of different branches of military, all that stuff. But it's cool what you can get when you open the floor to just about anyone.
Hmm.
But anyway, guys, his link is down below in the description. So if you want to check, because it does have all of his stuff, the YouTube, all that stuff, it's down in there. So you want to check it out, give him a look, and if he's worth the follow, give it to him because he's just like he says, he's just a down to earth guy, and those are people kind of who you want to go after. But you know what we should do? What if you're gonna say it like that? You're gonna have to tell me. But well, it's not the end of the show yet, and I don't end the show until later. So, uh, but anyway, for my end of things, because I do stream to both Rumble and YouTube, whether you're on the Rumble side or whether you're on the YouTube side, oop, I gotta get there first. Oh, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated because again, not only does it help in being seen more, like all content creators do want to, but it also helps in having other people on as guests, like Ramrod, like Tiny, who I had on Monday, and like so many other people. I've had people who are creators, I've had VTubers, I've had non creators, I've had a whole smorgasbord of people on. The important point of all this is that a conversation can happen. That's the important part, is to remember that a conversation can happen. It's like going to an old diner, right? You're sitting across from your friend across the way and you're just ordering a meal or whatever. It's just kind of that nice comfort setting.
Yeah.
That's what Darachat is to have this sort of one-on-one conversational show. I've had people kind of confuse it up with an interview. It's like I don't really see it as an interview because they can ask me questions too. So at that point, is it an interview? Because if you see it as an interview, it's sort of like you go and watch those other people who are interviewing for a movie or whatever. It's like, no, it's a conversational show. Anyone can ask a question. But at that point, any help with the engagement factor is much appreciated. Of course, I have a link down below. You can see where else I'm at. If you'd like to take up the opportunity to come on, you can either use the comment section or that link down below because the door is open. It's up to you if you want to come in. So, any help with the engagement factor, link down below. I appreciate y'all. And before we go any further, guys, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I am doing a survey for both. Hey, Diane, how are you? For 2 weeks, I am doing a survey. I am doing 2 different surveys, one for viewer, one for creator on Rumble stuff. Look, if you haven't found him yet, I'll post the link in my post on Twitter X. But at the end of the day, the more people that take these surveys, the more data I can collect, and the more data I collect, the more I can show you guys, not only you guys, but Rumble as well, that this chunk of people, this amount of people, and the big commonalities of issues that people have, big commonalities of people want for wishlist stuff. It's about showing the data at hand, because right now people aren't really getting anything back from Rumble itself on, what is this, what is that, what do people have issue with, and all that stuff. And that's what I'm trying to do with these surveys. So there's a creator one and there's a viewer one. If you view yourself as both, I don't care. I can get it, yes, but I'll be doing both of them. I'm promoting both because I do need to promote both creator and viewer. 1 second, I need to get into. I have to get to the link first. Next. Okay, there we go. All right. And I already have 28 people taking the creator one so far. That's great, but I have to have more. Okay, so this is for the creator one. Obviously, I put it in the Rumble side. This is for. Hold on, I gotta put creator survey because I'm gonna get the. There's the creator survey. All right, I'm gonna pin that. Pin the message. I pinned the message, so that is the creator survey that's up. Speak of your Funko Pops. Uh-oh.
I have a lot of them back there, honestly.
Okay, so there's that. Let me go. If you want to let them know about it, you can go ahead. I get the next link.
So I've kind of got a lot of the Pokemon stuff back there, a lot of the OG stuff, kind of your original 3 starters plus Pikachu. I do have a lot of One Piece pops because One Piece is my favorite anime ever. And I'm a big anime fan, but One Piece has just taken over as my favorite. But yeah, a lot of it is anime / Pokemon related for the most part.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Pokemon is anime too, so there's that. Viewer survey. Okay, so there's the viewer survey link. If anyone wants to do that. Again, if you consider yourself both viewer and creator, you can take both. I don't care, but just every bit helps. Every bit helps. So, but yeah, I don't really have any Funko Pops. It's after they kind of just be shelf takers and
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Psyduck, yes, Psy Duck. But yeah, there was a gentleman who I saw on YouTube. He was doing all the voices of all the Pokemon. And
That's
so
awesome.
well, I can do Squirtle, Squirtle, and then you got was it Charmander, Charmander, Char. Some of them are easy, some of them are just begrudging noises of animal sounds that you have to be careful of. But other than that, since I already have the one pinned in up there, I'll pin this here. So that's the viewer one in chat. So you would have a Funko Pop of Post-it notes. Maybe, but that would be more like personally made. So there's that. So, but yeah, it's I remember back in the day, I got the Game Boy here on YouTube. Hey, thank you for that, Diana. I appreciate it. Um, but I remember when the Pokemon games out, like blue and what was it? Blue and I think it was red and green, wasn't it? Like there's blue, there was red, and there was green, and then the yellow one came out later. That was the
Yeah.
Pikachu one, and that's the one I got. I got the one with Pikachu, but I also got the Game Boy, the Game Boy Color, but it was like the purple clear one.
Yeah.
Those are pretty nice, but yeah, those things aren't very much anymore.
No. Back then they were incredible, but
Mm.
now it's advanced so much.
Oh yeah, and yeah, because I mean they're like up to like 3D. I think they're like the Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee were the big ones. Um, let's see. Nope, I don't want that. I'll do them later. But it's like those 3D ones. I mean, the big 3D ones for me were the Shadow Pokemon ones, the
Yeah.
Pokemon XD. I really enjoyed those. They were kind of a bit, they were kind of a bit stiffly because one, they were on GameCube, um, and the characters were a bit stiffly. But I mean, to have a game where it's about capturing Pokemon. Now, obviously, it's shadow Pokemon, right? So there's not new Pokemon. It's
Yeah.
you're capturing shadow Pokemon. That's your business. But you get to have all these different Pokemon and all that stuff, and it was really nice to be able to have that. But still, it was like you'd wish you'd have that more. And of course, later down the road, they did do that thing with Pikachu and Eevee, but it's not. It's missing that thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, when Pal World came out, that was what people were looking for of all that stuff, right? Maybe a little less than the gun stuff, but I mean, still, it's
Yeah.
still you had Pal World being free and whatnot. You can ride your Pokemon, you have them work and all, or your pals, you have them work, whatever. Pokemon, you really didn't have anything with that. You just had what breeding daycares, and that was it,
Pretty
right?
much.
That was it, and really didn't have any more than that. And so when it came to those ones beyond the Pokemon XD, it was sort of like again something was feeling like it was missing. I mean, I remember when they came out with like those little Pokeball things, and you could actually carry your Pokemon with you while
Yep.
you went, which was a pretty nice idea. Don't get me wrong, um, but at the end of the day, it was still expensive,
Oh yeah.
and they were like I don't know how big they were. They're like this little big thing, like a size of a palm in your hand sort of thing. But yeah, they were not cheap. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'd rather have something that's similar to like Pokemon XD and just updated and all this stuff. It would be interesting to see if they remade those. Well, not remade those, but kind of renovated them to kind of work with the Switch. But who knows if that'll be the case? It's always a thing with Nintendo, right? There are a lot of games you wish it would. Um, oh, there you go. Thank you, Diana. Um,
Oh,
but
thank you.
but um, but you know how it goes with some of the wanting some of these games to be updated. They just don't, because it's a
Yeah.
money thing, right? Like or a personnel thing because they need people to go through the code and then kind of update it and whatnot. And it's just sometimes it's just not
I
worth it.
am surprised in a way that Nintendo hasn't though.
Yeah.
Because like it would be such a money like say for example whenever the Nintendo 2 comes out or the Switch 2 comes out this year, like
Mhm.
if they were to all of a sudden be like, "Oh, we're putting out like Pokemon Blue and Red and Yellow like remasters or like remakes,"
Mhm.
it would probably sell stupidly amazing. Mainly because you would have a lot of people like in their mid 30s, like me, that would be
Mhm.
like, oh man, I loved that when I was younger.
Yeah.
Carrying around the Game Boy, and you could just pop the Game Boy out whenever and play some more Pokemon, and if they ever remade that and it was like a true remake, not like a remake, but it's totally different, you know,
You could say Final Fantasy VII. I understand.
that's basically what I was getting at is I like so I like the first part, the remake, and I like Rebirth so far. I haven't finished Rebirth yet,
Right.
but I like them for what they are, but they're not like true remakes. I mean, they
Mhm.
are in the sense that you are seeing a lot of the characters and locations and a lot of the same story, but there's definitely some added things in there that was not in the original Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Um, but if Nintendo were to do that, I mean, people would buy them. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that people would be like, "You're bringing back the OG Pokemon games, and they're going to be on the Switch too, running at like what, like say 14, 40, 60 frames."
Mm.
A lot of people are going to buy that. But it would be a financial undertaking because you're talking about remaking a Game Boy game from the ground up.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of cost that would be versus what they would expect to gain. Um, but like me being older, I grew up with the original Pokemon. So after
Mm.
it gets past the OG 151,
Mm.
I'm pretty hazy because I there was a bit there when I was in the military and stuff that I didn't really play the games or collect the cards or anything, so I kind of
Mm.
did fall out of it for a long while. Um, but I mean, I see both sides of it. It would be extremely expensive undertaking, but it would be awesome from a consumer perspective to see that because I would love to play it. But
Yeah, again, like you would have the original Pokemon, but it'd be the like a 3D version of it or something, because that's the gist of it. You would think, but again, like you said, it's a financial time undertaking, and it's not like they don't spend. For me, it's sort of like you have these, um, you have these engines that are out, that people are using, like Unreal, which Final Fantasy VII did use, um, or Unity or whatever. But you do have these engines out because, again, I one of the big things is engines themselves. Like, CD Project Red has its own engine, and of course, the Fallout series has its own engine. All this
yep,
stuff, and those are usually the time takers and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's also the modeling. It's also all this. So maybe one day, but I see a lot of people. I've watched like different YouTube videos where people like putting the Legend of Zelda, what was it? Ocarina of Time
like
into
all the
like,
fan made stuff
yeah, like an Unreal Engine. I'm like, wow, jeez Louise, it doesn't look
looks
perfect, but
awesome.
it does. Yeah, it's insane. Or you have, like you said, some people trying to do a ground up sort of thing. But again, it's a time thing, and as time goes on, I don't know if you've seen this yet, but there have been people that have been using Grok to make games.
I haven't seen that.
They were first just making like 2D scrolls or whatever, and there was someone who, through, well, using it as a side product, there was other things to use too, but using Grok made a 3D space shooter, basically.
Dang.
And so it's like you're having things now where, adding the AI part into it, you're gonna have people making their own games, and they'll be spending less time on the matter at hand. Yeah, they'll still probably have to make models and whatnot, but there'll be people spending less time in doing this stuff than you would, say, have to do back in the day, where it's like clickety clack, and then you have
Yeah.
designers and whatnot. It really is going to be where sooner or later, I mean, people are already making their own music with like Suno. Have you ever heard of that? Suno? People are, because part of it is getting around the copyright stuff like YouTube and whatnot. So that's why, partly why they do it. But
Yeah.
you're able to create a whole album within hours.
Yeah.
It's still
Insane.
it still sounds like AI. You can tell it sounds like AI, but people are using it to create their own albums. No, gone. Sooner or later, gone are the days where you had artists or things like the studios or whatever. They'll just not be as much value to them, because people can go to this program, which Suno is owned by Microsoft, which is the open AI stuff. They'll go to that thing. They'll make music from it. They'll make their own album in which they enjoy music, and they'll share the enjoyment of music. And that person will have their own, and they'll share that. People will be able to make their own music, and they won't have to rely on pop stars. They won't have to rely on any of these, because they'll be able to do it. They don't have to worry about using instruments. That's the other thing too. This gives people who can't make music with instruments a way of doing it through electronically.
And I feel like if you think about it, that's kind of been, well, in really many ways of life, but especially on the entertainment side, it's think about the evolution from like
Mm-hmm.
VHSs to
Oh yeah.
DVDs to Blu-rays to,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's basically streaming,
Mm-hmm.
or digital purchases.
Yeah.
Same could be said for cassette tapes and then CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like the i when the iPod Nano and the iPod Classic came out, and then now everything is just on your phone. Or yeah, it's these laptops we have in our pockets.
Yeah.
Um, but it's kind of like the same thing, even not just like with movies and music, but think even gaming. Think about growing up when we were younger. It was just like back then, even before a GameStop, it was like, bro, if you went to Walmart and you got like a Nintendo 64 game, that was like all you cared about. That was like the
Mm-hmm.
most exciting thing ever. And now you have a lot of the games going digital.
Yeah.
And GameStop themselves, I just first thing come to my head, but the last time I was in there, I was talking to the store manager, and he was like, coming from corporate down, we're basically moving over into a card, like a TCG store and collectible store. Um, and like more of retro things,
Yeah.
because a lot of your new stuff, current stuff, is just going digital.
Yeah.
So it's not really a surprise, using AI, people are able to make music or albums or a
Mm-hmm.
song, or, a lot of these photos and deep fake stuff, all
Mm-hmm.
the way into like your PC stuff, NVIDIA using like AI upscaling and everything to get you better frame rates. And
Yeah.
so I'm not really surprised that AI's got a hand in everything. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
every aspect of life. I mean, AI is in there
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
And just over the course in time, when you, like I say, when you just look at VHSs to DVDs to Blu-rays to digital streaming,
Mm-hmm.
same with cassette tape, CDs, streaming,
Mm-hmm.
everything is going into a digital world.
Mm-hmm.
And a streaming digital world is probably the future, in a lot of ways as far as the entertainment goes.
Mm-hmm.
But if I still kind of have the sad days of, I do miss the physical
Yeah.
copies of games.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, apart from the Switch, I play everything on PC, so
Yeah.
everything's digital there. But
Yeah, yeah. Steam has been bad for me because I have over like 200, and I'm like, I can't play any of these.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. But I mean, it is one of those things where I mean, people can complain all they want about certain technologies, but it's like you haven't stopped anything. In fact, you've more or less created the urge to keep going more because you're like, this thing needs to stop now. But have you stopped it? And
yep,
and the thing with because I know there's a lot with the AI stuff, whether it be art generation or whatnot. The point of the matter is when you can use something like Grok to help in the process of helping you make a game, basically, whether it be
a
2D,
3D game nonetheless.
a 3D shooter. Well, it wasn't. I mean, again, it's not the greatest ever. It's sort of like
Yeah,
basic indie stuff. But if you can have something like that helping your hand, what good what good will the studios be? They won't have a stranglehold. They'll have a stranglehold for quite some time, obviously, because they're not up to par to build like those 3D models. Like you're not gonna have someone do like a Final Fantasy 7 sort of thing. Well, I mean they can use Unreal Engine because that's what they use. But beyond that point, you're not really gonna have AI do that part yet. But once it gets there, what's the point of having Square Enix? What's the point of having Santa Monica? The things that made the God of War sort of thing. What's the point of Nintendo Studios? What's the point of any of these studios if AI is going to come out and it's going to help people who don't have the knowledge to do so to make a game that they want? Game that's probably going to be the next thing is have games made on the go.
yeah, and even when you take it out of like the entertainment of like movies, music, and um, gaming and things like that. But I mean, just look at like Tesla. I mean, well, growing up, there's no way you would have been able to convince me that we were going to have electric cars anytime in the future or in my lifetime.
Well,
Um,
yeah. Well,
and
electric cars aren't. I would say that electric cars aren't something new. They've had something similar to that in the past, like the early 1900s. They have had some similarities. The just the bettering of, yes, but electric cars have been around for a while to some degree. But the taxi ones, right? Like you saw the robo taxis and whatnot. Now those are something people were dreaming of way back in the day. Just have like a chauffeur taxi thing that take you wherever you want to go. Now,
yeah,
obviously,
for sure.
those things will get used and abused because of how good they look, but still,
Yeah.
don't take one to Detroit; it won't come back.
Well, too, it's like going back to music, like what you were talking about is, someone that really, really, really wants to, you know, write a song, but maybe don't have the musical ability to play an instrument or whatever, and being able to use AI to create music. Even if right now you can still kind of hear the AI sound and you can tell it's
Yeah,
generated, but at a certain point in the future, it's going to probably get to a point where you won't know.
yeah,
And that goes to like even like you see people deep fake photos and things like that, where sometimes it's really hard to distinguish if it's
mhm,
real or if it's fake. And I feel like just like anything else, like we were talking about in other aspects, is it's just going to continue to improve and
mhm,
evolve into something else,
yeah,
like everything.
yeah,
So I could see it even, a decade from now being a lot crazier than what it is now. Because I saw where at the same event where they unveiled like the robo taxi and some of that other stuff,
yep,
he had like the androids,
yeah,
like Elon had the androids there, and they were like kind of being controlled by people off, in the
yeah,
back and whatnot.
mhm,
But even that is pretty awesome. Like to think that somebody's in the back and they're controlling these androids that are out here serving guests and stuff like
mhm,
food and drinks. And to know you're that close, but you haven't gotten to a point where it's fully independent of its own.
yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and like Slug said, yeah, it's gonna get better and better. Elder Scrolls, where the game becomes a never-ending, evolving story, and again, sort of like the never-ending story, if some of you know what that is.
Oh, such
Um,
a great movie.
so no man. Well, there was the first one, and I think there was the second one. I don't know how many movies were there of the never-ending story. I think there were like
To be
three.
honest, I've only seen the original.
Oh, great! Now I'm gonna have to look it up. I have to look up
I've
Wikipedia
only
because
seen the original Neverending Story. I know there was a part two. I don't know if it went past part two. It may have.
story. Don't want the book. Film series. Here we go. I will show it. Falcor. Falcor. Punch. I know that one pretty well. I played enough Smash. Um,
Gosh, I'm terrible at that game.
was Ramrod AFSC? I don't know what that means.
I
I'll look it up.
was a 2W151. I was Aircraft Armament Journeyman.
Mm,
Basically, a really fancy title for I was a weapons guy. I loaded bombs and missiles on the F 16 and worked
mhm.
on pylons and weapon launchers and troubleshooting. And I was on the flight line a lot.
There
A
was
lot,
there
a lot.
was there was two. Actually, no, there was three, and I'm about to show you. Okay, let me. There we
I
go.
honestly don't even remember a third one.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Never ending story.
84, 91, and
96.
96.
That was the last one. This is the one that 96 was the one that um had Jack Black in it.
What?
Yeah, Jack Black starred. Well, he was one of the bad guys in this movie, but it was basically, yeah. That's
Did
that's
not
him right.
know that.
That was him right there. Here, so I'll go to it. Right. So this guy right here that you see right there, that's Jack Black, and
That
it
is
even
awesome.
and even says right here, and Jack Black in an early role as a school bully slip.
That's so funny, dude. I never knew that.
Yeah, I think. Oh, that's right. The kid from Free Willy was in it too. That was the kid right there. Right there. That's
I
Free
had no
Willy.
idea that there were 3 movies.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, it's definitely the there's 3 of them, but it's like I mean, again, it's a movie called The Never Ending Story. Uh,
It's fair.
yeah. Oh, Falcor. I thought you were trying to go for the punch thing. For my apologize. Atria. Oh yeah. The one weird thing that got me for the first one was like you never know what the name he says for the Empress. He just says it. He just screams into it. And you're just like, what? Whoa, what was the name he said? What? Does anyone get that? The subtitles
Nope.
say mumble jumble or something like that. The Luck Dragon, that's right. And Falcor was voiced by a gentleman by the name of something Oppenheimer, who's voiced a lot of different.
Uh-oh.
No, not that kind of Oppenheimer. I gotta go back. I gotta go back. I was like, I know the name.
That was a really good movie, by the way.
What? Oh, Oppenheimer? Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I could have done without the sex scene stuff though, but hey, I like to go. I mean, have bed, zoom up and say hello. Make sure you got like, hey, thank you, EG. I appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. I hope your show went well too. Thank you for that, and I hope your goats are doing okay too. Even though she EG is has a farmyard her own, so her and her husband anyway. Never ending. I gotta do story. Okay. Gotta go to the movie stuff. Gotta go to um, Neverending Story. Falcor was voiced by the childlike Empress who has no name.
The no name.
Falcor, that's right. I'm trying to find out who voiced him. Ah, there it is. Okay, here we go. All right. So the gentleman who voiced him, the first film was Alan Oppenheimer. That was his first one. Now, obviously, he changed over time, but Alan Oppenheimer has voiced a lot of different uh, voices. He was in the $6 Million Man, Bionic Woman. Voice acting though, he was
Whoa,
uh,
a lot of things.
He-Man, Thundar, Black Star, Skeletor, Mighty Mouse, and Heckle. Oh,
Whoa.
he worked in the Transformers. Two characters, the Beachcomber and Warpath. So yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff. But yeah, he's also been in Fallout. Nice.
Toy Story 4.
Yep, Toy Story. Yeah, the guy's been in a lot of different different voice acting. But yes, he was the original voice of Falcor. For anyone who wants to know. But wow, and he's still alive too. Holy crap, he's 94. God dang. So many of us wish we could live to that age or longer. But yes, that was the first voice of baby's due in a few weeks. Well, congratulations, more kids, as the baby goats are called. That's pretty awesome, though. But yes, so there was a gentleman whose name was Oppenheimer who voiced Falcor. So now you know.
I do know. Did not know that. I didn't even
Uh,
know there was a third movie, so
Yeah, there you go. And he starred Jack Black and the kid from Free Willy. How about that? How about that?
never knew Jack Black was in Neverending Story.
Yeah, it was one of his early roles, he said. I mean, this is like early Jack Black, right? Because I think later on he became like for Tenacious D, which was his band. You know, him and Kevin.
Kyle Gass.
Kyle Glass, yep, yep. And there's been that. And I think they did that movie Tenacious D, some where they're
Pick of
playing against
Destiny.
Pick of Destiny, and then the ending is them playing against the devil, which is played by David Grohl.
Yep. Yep.
I was like,
That
wait,
movie is something else.
yeah.
It is very Tenacious D.
Free Willy is what I do with that. Well, we don't need to know that. Hey, Bob. We don't need to know that. That's no, I don't know. I was surprised he didn't say freed One Eye Willie. That would have been more. That would
Makes you
have
think
been.
of the Goonies.
Oh yeah.
It's a classic movie.
Yeah. Did you? There was word going around that they were going to try to do a Goonies too, and I'm like, why? It ended pretty well. I mean, I don't understand why you
It
want to.
did end really well. From what I had seen was there was talk about like a Goonies 2, and they were talking about bringing the cast back from the original Goonies, and
Mm,
this time it was going to be their kids.
yeah.
So the kids of the Goonies that go on some adventure, which I think there might be some truth to it because supposedly Spielberg had like signed on to produce it. So I'm not sure if it'll come to fruition or not, but if Spielberg signs on to do it, I would imagine he probably carries some weight to it, I would say.
Well, I think we'll get our answer. Never seen Goonies. Well, that's your loss, because
Oh, it's so good.
the kid who plays Data in that also played, what was that kid's? Short Round. That's right. Okay,
Dr.
here's
Jones.
Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones. Do you say Dr. Jones? Where you going? Okay, so here's what I found. This is Variety saying it, so take it with a grain of salt. This was on the 14th, so we
Okay,
got a good one.
Spielberg.
The Goonies are officially back. Warner Bros. Has hired Patsy Ponceroli to write the script after the sequel. It was announced Friday, almost 40 years after the original movie hit theaters back in 1985. Now this is February 14th, 1985. Lauren and Chris Columbus, who wrote the original Goonies script. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Chris Columbus wrote the original script. All 125. Recently, Kwan started Love Hurts that opened in theaters last week. After starring the Goonies as a child, had a career research thanks to his Oscar-winning performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once and a role in Loki. Um, I would love for it to happen. So many of them don't. So many of the people don't know, but I mean, it's a variety saying it, so I don't know how much you could trust that. Um, why did they make the Neverending Story 2 and 3? Because they wanted to. That's why. They wanted to.
Bring in money.
Bring in the money. And it starred Free Willy, the Free Willy kid, so that's probably why too. But I mean, there's not really much else about, it's just that's probably the earliest one from.
You were talking earlier, we were talking about like the movies, how usually the sequel is never as good as the original in most cases.
uh,
But one of the older movies that come to mind is Home Alone. Like, obviously, the first movie is a classic. Like, it's great. Home Alone 2 was honestly really funny. I don't think
yeah,
it was as good as the original. But
right, but
then
it's
they
not
went on to do like Home Alone 3 and
three,
4.
four,
There's a
yeah.
fourth one, and it's rough. It's not good.
Number three, Home Alone number three stars a young Scarlett Johansson.
Did not know that either.
Same reason for Goonies too. Well, it looks like it's official. It says a sequel to the Goonies is officially in the works at Warner Brothers. A representative from the studio confirmed to Entertainment Weekly on Friday. So
Hey,
if it's a, I don't know what that means. If it's a representative from the studio that says it's happening, then I guess it's happening. Um, So 2021. Oh, that sucks, Richard Donner. But yeah, it looks like the possibility is there. Who knows? Who knows when it will come out? But yeah, Chris Columbus, who's done amazing work with movies, he did the first two Harry Potter movies. Chris Columbus. If you don't
yeah.
know, so
And didn't he write the first movie or produced
yes,
it?
he wrote the first script for the Goonies. He also did a movie called Young Sherlock Holmes. He directed that. Um, but I mean, for the most part, Chris Columbus does really good work with child actors. And that's why I think he does so well with the first two Harry Potters, and then he's done well with the Goonies. He works well with kids in movies, and I think that's his strength because kid kid actors in movies, they can be a bit energetic. Want to see a wild movie watch party monster with Macaulay Culkin is not what I was expecting. Well, I mean, great. Congrats to him, right? Congrats to Macaulay Culkin. He's gotten his life a bit better. He has a kid. He's married to Brenda Song. And if people don't know, Brenda Song was on the show, The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. The Sprouse
Oh
kids.
yeah,
And so she was from that, and she married Macaulay Culkin, and they have a kid. And now his brother, Kieran, has got a SAG award and all that stuff. So I mean, and they both starred in the same Home Alone movies.
yeah,
The first two, and it's just like, wait, you're saying that's his brother?
yeah. They don't really favor at all.
Yeah, you can't tell because he's wearing glasses and stuff. I mean, Kieran, I've seen Kieran in a few movies and he does wonderfully for what he does. He was in a movie called Paper Man, which had Jeff Bridges and Emma Stone in it. It's a very indie movie. Lisa Kudrow is in it as well. It's a very indie movie, but it's a very good movie. His brother is killing it. Yeah, but I mean, that's great because Macaulay Culkin got an actual star of fame. I think it was like last summer or something, and the lady who played his mother in the first one was there. Okay, Catherine O'Hara. Sorry, Catherine O'Hara is her name. He looked good. I mean, you could tell he looks older. You could tell he looks older. He's not obviously he's not youthful, but I mean, congrats to him for turning his life around. He's got a kid. He's married to another actress of sorts, and and they're together. That's great.
Wasn't the I think that there was another brother. Is there one called Rory? Because there was a movie that I watched here recently. It was about the metal band. I think it was a Norwegian. It was Sweden or Norway, but it was like the metal band Mayhem, who has like
Okay.
supposedly some crazy backstory. And his Macaulay Culkin's brother was in it, and I want to say his name was Rory, but he looked a lot like him.
So here's the list. The Culkin brothers, including Kieran and Macaulay, are known for their acting careers and family legacy in Hollywood. Same with the Baldwins, right? The Baldwin brothers.
Yeah,
So, wow, that's a lot of siblings. Holy
yeah,
crap. I
that's what
only
I
thought it
was
was.
thinking.
Here's some of the notable Culkin brothers. Macaulay and Kieran, both in the same first Home Alone. Rory acted in You Can Count on Me and Signs. So I don't know. Shane is in Broadway. Quinn is in Wish Kid and The Good Son. And Christian Culkin is My Story Summer. So each brother has followed a unique path in the entertainment industry, which is crazy. Which is crazy
Yeah,
because
it was pretty crazy.
I only knew of these two, but now there's like four other behind them. That's insane.
It's a lot of siblings.
But then again, it's like you think about the Baldwin brothers, and there's like 5 or 6 of them out there. It's ridiculous. But no, that's so yes, there is a Rory Culkin. I don't know. Well, we can look into that. Let's quickly look into that.
Can't remember what the can't remember what the name of the movie was that he.
Okay, here's what he looks like. So that's what Rory looks like, 2008. Um, but the movies he's played in, The Good Son, Richie Rich, Igby Goes Down, You Can Count on Me, Signs. Oh wow, he played in Signs, in which he started along Mel Gibson. Oh, okay, all right.
Oh,
Mean Creek, Chum Scrubber, Down in the Valley. So he starred in some other ones, Twilight Zone. Oh, Scream 4.
that Lords of Chaos. That's the movie right there where it was the Norwegian black metal scene band Mayhem. That was the movie I saw him in. That
Ah,
he looked he looked a lot like Macaulay Culkin because he had like longer blonde hair. Um,
yeah. No, that's interesting. Lords of Chaos. I've never even heard of that. But I mean, again, it's like these are all brothers. Just finding out, right? He's also been in Black Mirror, Under the Banner of Heaven. He's been at a bunch of things. It's crazy, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's just another sibling round of the Baldwins. Like the Baldwins were
yeah,
they're in it. You have Steven. You got, of course, you got the most controversial one. And then you
yeah.
got Billy, and you got all these other ones. It's crazy. It's crazy how it is. And now that I know there's like 7 of them.
It's kind of like the Skarsgård family. There's a lot of
Well,
them too.
only 3: the father and the 2 sons. So the dad is in movies. He's played in like the Marvel ones. Um,
I think he's got 3 kids that act.
all right, well, we're gonna have to look it up now.
Because there's the
Scars.
one that plays Pennywise, there's the one
That's
that played
Bill.
Tarzan,
That's
uh,
Alex.
and then there's the one that was in Vikings that played Floki.
Give me 1 second. So, hold on. I got it.
I can't remember what his name was though. It was different. I think he's like the oldest one.
So this is the dad, Stellan.
Yep.
He's been into acting for a while, Mamma Mia and all that stuff. But here's the family.
Gustav, that's his other son.
Gustav. So the Skarsgård family is renowned Swedish. So they are Swedish acting dynasty with several members achieving international fame in film and television. Three of them actually. You have Stellan, dad. You have Alex, the eldest. You have Gustav.
Yeah, he
who's
was in Vikings.
Westworld. Bill Skarsgård, which is Pennywise and all that. Sam, Aja. I'm not gonna, and Walter. So you have 2 of them so far, the well known plus the dad. So you have 3 right there total that are well known. The dad and 2 of his sons. The other ones, maybe sort of. The family is well regarded in Sweden for their talent and their approach to fame, which often involves staying out of the gossip press. Bingo! Look at these people. These are smart people. Look at them, and they're Swedish. I mean, come on. But yeah, their dad is
I
this
feel like
guy.
that's the way I would have to be. Stay out of the press. Just ignore them.
Yeah, but this one, he's been in some of the Marvel movies, so he
Yeah.
was in a few of them. But I mean, he's the Thor ones. He's been in the Thor ones because I mean, yeah, Thor, Norwegian sort of stuff. I mean, come on, that
Yeah.
goes hand in hand. I'll back out, but yeah, that's pretty awesome though. Oh, I went a little too far. No, it's good. All right, but yeah, it's sort of again family actors. You too, EG. Have a good night. Okay. But yeah, it's just strange. You got Baldwins, you got the Culkins, you've got the Skarsgård. Holy crap. All that stuff. But yeah, it's just insane of how many different families are acting together like that. And it's just, and when you learn about it, it's like, jeez. We'll call it WWE. I'd have to look that up. I just know that they went to the, what was it? I think they went to the Emmys because that was the one with that happened just recently, and he was at the Emmys with his wife, and they were there because of his brother. So I guess they were invited along with them, which is pretty awesome too. Again, he went through a lot of stuff. He was a child actor. He was one of those kids that was friends with Michael Jackson. Yeah, he appeared in the song.
Yeah.
He was in the music video, Black or White. So, but it was well known that they were friends of sorts. But anyway, so it is getting close to that time. So what we're going to do is we're going to start winding down. Now, again, guys, before we get into this, I do have and you don't have to stay for it if you don't want to, Ramrod. That's totally up to you. But because I'm part of the creative program, I do have to do that 5-hour thing. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to break it up to like half an hour to 45 minutes at the end of the show. But what this means is that you'll still get the full show. There is no cutting it off and having an hour ahead and behind. No, it's just an extra bonus. If you have premium for 30 to 45 minutes, you'll get the wrap up. So this is the show, and then we'll have the Darachat Wrapup, which is going to happen after the song is done at the end. And of course, the guest here, Ramrod, is welcome to stay if he wishes or not. That's up to him. No qualms about it. But if you have premium or whatever, you're more than welcome to stay for that because it will be just extra behind the scenes stuff of like, okay, setting up for the stream tomorrow, and maybe we'll look at some of like the I won't show you the total of what the data is for the surveys, but I may show you like how many people have taken each so far, so that we have a good understanding because I'm trying to get these surveys out there. So before we go further, we're gonna do our self-promoting time, and so of course, Ramrod, the floor is yours if you want it.
Well, number one, I appreciate you for having me on tonight, just chatting about anything and everything that comes up because that's fun to just have a free flow and convo. But I appreciate you having me on, and man, all the awesome chatters that's been in here hanging out, and I've seen some of my crew pop in there from the Discord, Mr. Slug and Astro and Tier, and
Mhm,
that's awesome to see some guys come over and support the show as well. And
mhm.
but yeah, I appreciate it very much. And like I said
Welcome.
earlier, stream here on Rumble as that's my primary platform and one of the
Mhm,
premium creators, and then I also stream on YouTube and TikTok.
mhm.
I was multi-streaming on Twitch as well, but I've kind of decided to probably just drop that out of the multi-stream because it has, for lack of a better term, all but just completely died there. so, um, but yeah, I play a variety of games, mostly PC games, single player story driven, but also I
Mhm.
do some Nintendo exclusives as
Nice.
well. So, but yeah, if you're wanting a stream to hang out and just have a chill time and vibes, and I'm just a laid back person that I chat with every single person that pops in the stream.
Mhm.
So if you ever want to come by and hang out, you're more than welcome to. And then also on Twitter. I'm not going to say X, I say Twitter. You can find me there, Ramrod
Yeah.
Jenkins. I post on there a lot. That's pretty much my active social media.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, that's it. What you see is what you get. I'm just super down to earth and always happy to meet new people and chat about whatever.
Mhm. And we just did that for like almost the past 2 hours. So that's been the awesome stuff. Of
Yeah,
course, again, his link is down below. So if you want to check his stuff out, it's down there. If he's worth a follow, check him out first and see. That's always the thing I tell people. Is like I don't tell because you hear a lot of content creators like go follow this person. And they're like, yes, but I'd rather their content speak for it rather than me tell people to go
yeah,
follow because people are gonna
for
follow and
sure.
then people will follow and then never watch your stuff.
Yeah,
So you want to say if they're worth you follow, then follow, but check their stuff out first before you make that final decision, because otherwise it's gonna be like,
yeah.
whatever. Um, but anyway, for my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or YouTube side, because I do stream to both, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated. Because at the end of the day, not only does it help in me being seen more on either end, it also helps in having other people on, like Ramrod, like UB Legend, like Silver Fox. I've had Silver Fox before, Lumpy, and all these other different people. Whether they're a creator or not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just matters if you're willing to take up the opportunity to come on. So, any help with the engagement factor on either end, on either Rebel YouTube, is much appreciated. And of course, I have a link down below as well if you want to take a look. If you want to take a look, like right down there, right down there, right down there. Neon sign that points down. Probably not a good thing. But yes, I have a link down below as well. You can check out where else I'm at. I say Twitter X because I'll tell that I'll tell that story once we go into the other side if you're willing to join. Um, but I have a Twitter X, I have an email, I have all this stuff. But if you want to see where else I'm at, you can go to that link down below. Or if you'd like to take up the opportunity yourself, come on, and the door is open to a big chunk of people. I'm not interested in bad actors or trolls. You can stay in your field. Um, you can leave a comment down below on either end, or you can go to that link down below. Find me at places. I've only had one person go through my links to find me to come on, and you'll never guess who it was. It was a Canadian. It was a Canadian that made the difference. I'm American and I'm disappointed.
that's that's so funny.
I'm an American and I'm disappointed. That sucks. No, he's really Slinger Games is a really great guy. He does cabinet making. He does business with the U.S. So it's been great. But it took a Canadian to go through my links to find me to come on my show. Disappointing. Disappointing.
We
I,
failed.
I thought we were supposed to be a team and you guys left. Anyway, guys, any help with the engagement on either Rumble, YouTube, and of course, link down below. I appreciate you all. Thank you all so much. And of course, before we go any further, I am you too, Slug. You too. Again, guys, I am doing I'm doing surveys. I have a show at the end of the month, at the last Saturday of the end of the month, called Rumble Squared. It's my attempt to try to collect ground floor level data in order to not only show, find the commonalities of issues that a lot of people have, but also find like what wish list stuff people have. Because at the end of the day, Rumble takes feedback, but it doesn't feed back to us. It doesn't give us anything back on the feedback matter that was given to it, like what here's the majority or whatever. So that's what this is. It's my attempt to bring something to you guys. Now I'm using forms from Microsoft to do the survey, and of course, I still have it pinned up. I do have the creator survey pinned up right now, so you can go to that, take the creator survey, and I'll have a viewer survey link going in soon. If you view yourself as both, take both. I don't really care. Just know that these are points of areas to collect data to. And the 29th on the show of Rumble Squared, I will send that stuff out. I'll post it on Twitter X. I've done it before with other stuff. I will send that part to Rumble as well. I will show you what, however many people take it, what they see. And I'm hoping to get 100 each, but I've been doing this for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So if you haven't done it yet, please go if you've used Rumble in any way, shape, or form, give your input. That's all I ask. Give your input for either end. So I'm gonna link the viewer survey because I already have the creator one pinned up. So here we go. I'm putting this in the Rumble side. There you go. That is the viewer survey link. Again, creator survey link is pinned, and of course the viewer survey link is here. So whether you figure either or you're both does not matter. Every bit matters. Every person point matters, because right now I'm at least close to 30 for each one. So the point of the matter is trying to get, because last time I did one survey and I got like 79 people who took it. So I'm really trying to get up there. It'll take time to get more than, but I'm gonna push it for until the 17th and 18th, because that's how far it's gonna go. So once that's done on the 29th, Rumble Squared, that's when that data is going to be shown a bit. And again, it will be posted for transparency on both Twitter X and then given to Rumble as well. So this will not just be taking the feedback and you'll never see it. 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern, that's when Rumble Squared is happening, and that's when you'll see the collection of data. So any help with that, guys, much appreciated. And of course, like I said earlier, at the very end of the show, once I've played the last song, there will be a Darachat Wrapup. That's the premium thing. I know, so what? But it's part of the ordeal. I'm in the creator program, or the CPP, because it's creator partnership program, and that was funny to me. It's called C. You can just shorten it down as CPP. It's like I was wondering if they even thought
that.
Yeah, I was wondering if they even put thought. And I was like, CPP. What the hell's wrong with them? But you put the R for Rumble, and it's RCPP, and I was like, oh, that just didn't sound right at all. But we're gonna do a few things first before we go to the end point. But again, once that song's over, I'm gonna switch over. We'll do a few things for 30, 45 minutes. That's just the extra bit. Up to you if you want to stay, but it's part of the ordeal. So I'm trying to do 30 to 45 minutes each day, and by I think like the third week, I'll have fulfilled the 5. So, hey, thank you, sir. So we've already done the first thing. Second thing is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern, I'm gonna have Smay on. She is a friend to Hampiro, who I've had on as well. Great dude. And all that stuff. So she will be on at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So I hope you'll join me for her as well. We'll see where that goes. Just like with here, we'll have all that fun. And of course, the last thing I have with my guest is something called Questions from a Hat. So I bought a hat for Mumble and I put some questions in it. So what happens is that you, my guest, get 2 freebie questions, right?
Oh.
So I'm not monetized on YouTube, so sorry guys. It is what it is. But on Rumble, I'm monetized. So here's the deal. You want more than the 2 questions I pulled out, you just have to give a Rumble rant. It doesn't matter what the amount is. You can give a 1, 500, doesn't matter. Everything in between is up to air. You have to give a Rumble rant, though, in order to get more than the 2 out. So if you want to have more, gotta pay a Rumble rant. So I'm going to pull the first one out. All right, my eyes are closed. I'm just digging my hands in the hat, just gonna be like, ooh, yeah. Oh, I got a paper cut. No, I'm just joking. Anyway.
Oh, that would suck.
No, a cardboard cut is worse.
Very
Cardboard,
true.
Of your cardboard cutout. All right. So here's the first question.
My pleasure. Okay. My phone freaked out on me. Okay.
It's like my pleasure's like, okay, what's going on there?
Yeah. A phone lit up and started talking to me.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. If you well, if you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be? Who would it be with, and why?
Oh, man. Any historical figure.
Hmm.
Holy cow, dude. I don't even know. Um Honestly, I think it would, and I guess it's just because I'm a history buff. I think it would be really, really cool to
Hmm.
go back and have a chance to meet like George Washington, like the OG,
Nice,
very first dude.
nice.
Very first dude of the country, and a general, and led the militia. I just think it would be super cool to just, I don't know, talk to him and see just that mindset of back then. That's
Bre-
probably who I'd go with, is probably George Washington.
Breaking bread with the man himself.
Yeah,
Not a bad
the
choice.
OG.
Not a bad choice. Then you'll be asking like, so are they really wood or are they something else? I just gotta know. It's for history's sake. I just gotta know.
Yep.
Was it a lie? Did you chop down the tree? Was it a lie? All right, here's question number 2, and that'll be the last one unless someone gives a rumble rant. Let's see what it says. Now, of course, I have to deal with the post-it note stickiness. Okay, here's one. What's a movie or book that changed the way you look at everyday things?
Oh, good lord. Um,
I said it's a movie or book, so you have a lot of room to choose from if you want.
this is true. This is true. Um, Movie or book that changed the way I looked at everyday things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess in the sense of a book, it would probably be,
Mm-hmm.
ironically, compared to then versus now. Um, but would probably honestly be, probably would be the Bible because of how I was raised.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that mixed with like the family upbringing and stuff probably in a way shaped my like foundation and just kind of like how I am as a person
Mm-hmm.
toward other people. So I would probably say that.
Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty good answer. You had George Washington, you're throwing that down. My goodness. You're really raising the barn today. Goodness me. But that's it. Unless someone gives a rumble rant. But and until that happens, that is the end of the show. Now again, guys, there is the wrap up after, and of course, my guest is welcome to stay if he wishes. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it's just gonna be another 30, 45 minutes. You'll see how I set up for the next stream, and we'll kind of chit chat about whatever. You'll actually get to see me without my hat and glasses. That's a little extra I'm gonna show just for you. So, but anyway, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. Whether you're here because of Ramrod, the Rammer, as they call him, or that's not going to go away anytime soon, or you're here just to listen to different conversations with people about whatever. I thank you anyway. And of course, don't forget SMAY at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. All those links and stuff will be posted, and you'll get to see me do it. So how about that? But anyway, guys. Oops. I'm okay. It's just a little blip by Rumble. But anyway, guys, as always for my streams, and if you knew, I as I did with the intro, I play out a song. You'll probably get hit with that soon, but when it happens, just refresh. Um, but where am I at? I'm trying to find it. Trying to find the song. Okay, found it. But anyway, one day with you, I Pogo. Hope to see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. And if you're premium, let's go to the wrap up. Good night, guys. Oh, don't forget to mute yourself too. All right. Good night, guys.